Chisqailih, Luna Qasqailih, Qa Asputa Astum Asia, Lu Qastulih, Lu Lasm Qmoq, Lu Saq, Utatistam, Qasia, Qainku, Tasawat Tilzin Kutanaxum Tiltatiswat.
I am a human being, and to me that means a responsibility, and a lot of people shirk their responsibilities.
The old values, the basic ones that got us here are being ignored. Like I say, we become mean-spirited, and that's not what America's about. It's supposed to be the land of opportunity. We're the greatest nation in the world, but yet we got people sleeping on the streets. We got, crime and inequality in the justice system, and a lot of it is rooted in the dollar.
Because of what Bernie has done in the past for standing up against the large corporations, he is in line with my morals and my views that we shouldn't just allow some people to get rich and the other go poor. From a cultural perspective and a tribal perspective, we would have wanted to make sure that everybody was getting that equal opportunity.
So when you get a presidential candidate that actually is going to care about Native people, then, as a Native person, I have to support that. Why would I support another candidate that ain't even going to have any respect for me as a Native American?
A lot of people think we don't exist anymore. Bringing our issues to the forefront, allowing more people to learn about us, bringing in more interest will help our own efforts in trying to keep our culture alive.
He does care about human beings everywhere. He's not worried about a race, a color. He just supports people. And that's humanity at its finest. That's the kind of president that I want.
I am a human being, and I support Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders
I am a human being, and I support Bernie Sanders.
I'm a human being, and I support Bernie Sanders.
I
am a human being, and I support Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders iksukapio.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another rally. Bernie Sanders from San Juan, Puerto Rico. That was a new trailer, a new advertisement. I am human, Native Americans for Bernie Sanders, and very powerful. Give you a minute here. I'm just adjusting audio, and that's. I am human, and I not only support Bernie Sanders, but I support the planet, which means I support Bernie Sanders. There's really no other way to look at that. There's only one candidate that actually understands that we need a mobilization on climate, and that we are in a dire place right now with where our climate sits. But I'm getting excited about this rally. We got 7 minutes to go, according to the not scheduled program time. We always like to think it starts on time. They never really do start on time, and that's why they tell us actually don't publicize the time, because we never know. Bernie could be speaking to an overflow crowd. Something could happen, could start earlier. But that's why we're here, to have a conversation. How is everybody doing this evening? I know we've got, let me get these comments rolling for real. There we go. Got lots of comments. I want to thank Liam and Steph and Sek, and Jesse's back, everybody. By the way, Jesse's back from a vacation. Hello, Jesse. Thank you for being back today. And she's helping us out with all the wonderful things that she does and everybody does in the volunteer group. This doesn't happen without a whole bunch of people. You see my ugly face and loud mouth, but there's a whole bunch of other beautiful people that do the actual hard work around here to make Bernie 2016 TV and politicalrevolution.tv function. And it takes a lot of time, dedication. I want to thank everybody who volunteers and everybody who is here in the audience, because without the audience, there's really no point to this. This is a conversation, not just a one-way blast. And your donations, your participation, your sharing, subscribing, that is all part of what makes this channel and our effort together to elect Bernie Sanders as our president. That's what matters, is that we're doing this together. So good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Bernie Sanders rally. 5.5 minutes. I really was just going to play this this clip from an interview with Residente and Bernie Sanders, but I thought I'd just tell everybody some news. Hi everybody, who's here? Jesse and Vlog and Kathy and Elizabeth and Sean, Tito Tails. It's cool. Hi, how you doing? NAGP Gup, Jeff, Miss D, Doris Sabel, Graham, Blah. Half of my fun here is just completely annihilating your names live. So thank you all for being here. We are human, and we support Bernie Sanders. And if you're here and you're not sure you support Bernie Sanders yet, wonderful. Please ask questions. This is a conversation. What we don't allow is hate speech. That's all. But please have a discussion. Have a disagreement. We would like that. It's okay for us to disagree. It's okay for us to discuss things, because that's the only way we're going to ever come to a consensus as a democracy, as a people, right? I got lots of ideas that on how things should go, and I know for sure that they are not the best ideas on how to get those things done. But what I think about them needs to be weighed in along with everybody else's voice, and so we need to talk about these things. It's something we don't do anymore, but we're starting to do again. And that's because of the internet. If you think about it, we didn't have a way to discuss things with the safety of anonymity until the internet. And once we learned how to kind of govern ourselves and have that conversation in text, and now through mediums like this, we're okay with showing our faces, let people know who we are. And the era of authenticity and transparency has been ushered in. And now Bernie Sanders represents that authenticity and transparency. And, well, that's where we run into problems with the establishment, isn't it? Because they can't be transparent and they can't be authentic. Because they haven't been that way with us for more than 50 years. And the media stopped being that way with us about 1980. Anyway, I'm glad to be here with you, and that together we can push forward this political revolution. It's going to be fun. It's going to be hard, too. And there's already been a lot of shitty, sucky moments. But if we stick together, we can do whatever we want. We own this place. Right? Absolutely. When does Bernie talk? Please say. Bernie talks, we hope, in about 2.5 minutes. So you only have to put up with me for maybe another 2.5 minutes, 5 minutes tops. And that's if he actually starts on time. We're getting our feed today from News Universe channel, and that's the only place I can find it at this moment. We can drop the link if you guys want to go direct to News Universe. If you don't like the lower third that we put here, we're going to show that the whole time. I will bump the broadcast up, but that's part of what we do, this conversation with you guys. So we'll get the link there. Really thank News Universe for providing the feed from wherever they're getting it. And if we find another, or if I find a direct local source from Puerto Rico, from live stream, usually most of these local channels have a live stream feed. And if I can find a live stream feed, then that's usually a more stable signal. But we thank News Universe for bringing us this, however it's coming in, and we hope that hope it stays. I'm just reading some comments here. 7 p.m. Yes, 7 p.m. Eastern. Live rallies are amazing. They absolutely are. Did I just see a venue capacity? Are you there? And forgive me if I'm destroying your name, Darisible P. The venue has a 1,750 people capacity. Okay, good to know. That's cool. I wonder how many people are actually there. I'm going to guess more than that. UPR has a live feed? Get it to me. Get it to me. Get it to me. Oh, good. Maybe a shout out to, hey, if you're from Puerto Rico, how are you? I've been there. I stopped there briefly. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I really wish that we weren't crapping all over you as a nation, and I apologize for that. Also, I think defaulting on your loans, beautiful. Perfect. Let Wall Street pick up your bill, because you shouldn't have that bill in the first place. So, way to go, and I hope we can do you guys right. Yeah. Awesome. If you're from Puerto Rico, hi, how are you doing? Hope you feel the burn. And if not, I hope you do by the end of this rally. Because that's really all it takes. It's really all it takes for people to, I'm watching, 17 seconds. It's really all it takes for people to feel the burn, is to listen to Bernie Sanders. Just take 10 minutes, listen to Bernie Sanders. Take 10 minutes, listen to Hillary Clinton on the same subject. You should be done. You should be done. Honestly. Barney said 17,000 Puerto Ricans were watching his town hall. Wow. Nice. I'm just reading some of the, what else you got to say here? 309, wow, we've got almost 400 people here. Hi, all of you. All right, so News Universe hasn't started yet, guys. So we'll see wait and see what happens. And if I get another link in here, we'll go to that one as well. But like I said, we're just flying blind. If you weren't aware, we have on the record, we have video here. Let's just play this. This is 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I will stop it if the event starts, all right? But for the record, as many people as possible need to see this. This is something that is not being played on mainstream media. As many people as possible need to see what happens when you have a complete breakdown in your democracy. This should not have happened. This is not about Bernie or Hillary, actually. This is illegal. This is wrong. Just watch. Hopefully it'll play.
Asking all of you, Hillary and Bernie, please smile, because we're Democrats. Okay. The motion is this. I am asking you to have a recount. 9:30 was too soon for a preliminary vote. The petitions did not get to everyone. Everyone wanted to come in and get a seat or get their badge or get things at the different tables around and get their pins. But they didn't get the petitions. And that's what we need. You can't count petitions if nobody got to sign them.
Okay, we have 3 speakers for and 3 speakers
Point of order.
against. I will call the question. It has been moved and seconded that the temporary convention rules be passed by the body. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The ruling by the chair is not debatable. It cannot be challenged, and I move that I announce that the rules have passed by the body.
All right, well, that's a shorter version of the one I had before, but that's okay. You get the point. I'm not going to go into there's a video that's if it's not in the description, I don't know if I dropped the links, and I'll have to get them in there. On the newsroom this morning on politicalrevolution.tv, there is a link to a gentleman by the name of Dan Roll. Dan, R-O-L-L-E. He has a 10-minute video that explains very clearly what happened here. And you got to understand that it's not even about that particular vote. They changed the rules and voted that woman to basically say she could do whatever she wanted, whatever she pleased. And she had that authority because they passed a vote illegally in the morning, before anybody had a chance to even look at it, that she would be in charge of everything and get to rule everything. So basically what happened is she went to have this vote based on Robert's rules, and you heard the yays and the nays, and instead of just like trying to figure it out, she went, well, I rule it's going to go this way. Done. Absolute just disgrace. And at this point, I think we would be right in asking the UN to step in and actually take control of this election, because what you're looking at is a prelude to the kind of bullshit we're going to see in Philly. And I swear, if that happens in Philly, the establishment has to know there's going to be a riot. We know there's going to be an insane riot. Everybody is predicting an insane riot at the GOP simply because of who will be there. I have no idea what that's going to look like. That's going to be the clown car on fire. Really. But as much as we want the Democratic Convention to be peaceful, it is certainly going to be angry. And it is certainly going to have a lot of problems if this kind of crap goes down. And we have a lot of people planning on showing up in Philly. So I'm concerned. And I think the establishment should really, really think hard about their strategy right now, because they risk a lot worse than a political revolution, right? They really do. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. What a typical time. Yeah, we've been trying to do this every day and be consistent. I want to talk about that while we wait for the this to start. And I am waiting for this to start, by the way. Actually, let me check in on something here. I want to check in on your comments. I'm not looking in the right place. Apologies. Hang on. All right. I just wanted to see if there were any questions. I see Eric Rodriguez. Will this be the speech in the University of Puerto Rico? Yes. And this is supposed to be the speech in the University of Puerto Rico. And that's what we're waiting for it to kick in. Like I said, we're getting this from News Universe channel. If you Google them on YouTube, if you want to just watch this on a different chat, they have a nice chat, and we have a relationship with them. And thank them very much for being able to scrape this however they're getting it. Again, don't have any idea. We have to do this because we're not allowed access to political content. Even though in the First Amendment, it is supposedly the most protected speech. Look up the First Amendment on political speech. It is quoted as being the most protected speech in land because it is how we are informed so that we can rule our democracy, because it's our democracy, right? And the suits and ties that we elect, we pay through our tax dollars that they collect on our behalf to run our country. But the problem is we're not being informed anymore. The media networks stopped informing us when they no longer had an obligation to do so, which was in around 1986, when Ronald Reagan repealed the Fairness Doctrine, which said that these news agencies no longer had to deliver fair and biased news. They could just make shit up, or they could provide a narrative to that news that was untrue, or presented it as being untrue. And it was okay to do that because they could come back around and claim it was entertainment news, and that's okay, because entertainment news is simply news for entertainment's sake, and as long as the people don't know the difference, what harm is done? Well, the harm is done when you no longer have accurate information or have access to political content. We lost access to political content as a public entity, as the public. We lost that in 1996 thanks to Bill Clinton with the 1996 Telecommunications Act. And that handed all of our political content over to the major networks. Why? I don't know. I have no idea why our government would hand all of our political content over to the major networks. I really don't know. I don't know why Democrats and or Republicans or anybody in government would do that. But now, we don't get public broadcasts of all political content. It's locked down and copyright owned by these major networks, and they get to chop it up and provide narrative as they please. And that is why this station exists. And channels like News Universe, Bernie Sanders speeches and events, and rally speeches, we all have to exist because the agencies that we pay, really, to run news for us don't provide news, and they don't give us access to political content that belongs to us according to the First Amendment. It's bullshit. It's traitorous. It's wrong. And every journalist that works for a primetime network knows this. And the ones that refuse to stand up and have integrity over their paychecks, which is pretty much all of them right now, save the ones that have been fired, like Ed Schultz, Keith Olbermann. Right? Well, they're all basically now propaganda puppets. They're not journalists. They stop being journalists when they stop reporting the truth. Some of them probably never reported the truth. All right. I'm just going off here, waiting for these guys to kick in, honestly. I could run another video. Let me make sure everything's okay here. The one he's been monitoring. Oh, yeah, that's News Uni. Thank you. Right, I got that. Rockin'. What else, guys? What else are you saying? Jose, greetings from Puerto Rico. Bernie Sanders has achieved an unusual political movement that has reunited people from all ideologies. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. It's global. It's awesome. It's powerful. I think it's got the establishment all around the world going, I don't know what we do here. Right? We have them freaked out and scared, which is why they're reacting with this kind of just ridiculous violation of democracy. Right? You're absolutely right, Jose. Glad to be with you. Peace. Angel, the DNC is not my mom. DNC is not my mommy. Yes, they're not. They're not. These people here. You want to know why we have this card? I just want to say something. By the very concept of our democracy, the people we elect to office are no more intelligent, should be no more intelligent than any of us. They're not special people. They really shouldn't be more interesting people. They should just be people. This was something that Edward R. Murrow said to the media to just kind of put them in their place at the time when he was leaving the media, around 1958. Media was starting to change back then and realized what kind of a power it had. And he said, your voice, he's talking to journalists, news anchors, like old school, traditional ones, like Walter Cronkite. Like, your voice, amplified to the degree where it reaches from one end of the country to the other, does not confer upon you greater wisdom than when your voice reached only from one end of the bar to the other. And that statement can be made of politicians because it's the walk that we're looking for. What they say and their knowledge around it is only as good as their information and our information together, because they represent us. If we're uninformed, they're uninformed. Bernie Sanders has been listening to the people for 30 years. He's been fighting for us for that long. And you can see it in his actions. And I can't say the same for his opponents at all. I don't know about you. Follow the money. Absolutely right, Metalhead. Follow the money. Simcat, anybody see that asshat O'Reilly was trying to get Trump to say he'll indict Hillary if nobody else does? Oh, that's great. Boy, wouldn't that be interesting? Wouldn't that be interesting? He goes into office, indicts Hillary. I don't know if he can have I don't know if there's an executive power to do that. I'm sure he'll invent one. That would be interesting. One way or another, we will see the Clintons in prison for what they've done. That's my hopeful opinion anyway. That's my hopeful opinion. That's it. That's it, guys. All right, fine. I don't want to fly through all your comments. Gosh, I hope these are even the right comments. Let me make sure here. I bet those are old comments. I'm gonna start back up at the top. Sorry, everybody. Got a lot of different comment sheets. You guys have a lot of conversation. That's the point of being here. Thank you. But sometimes I go to the wrong ones. So This is good, though, because that means we have a whole bunch to go through. I don't think I went through these yet. Good. We'll start over. Those comments were from this morning, I think. Oh, well. Start over with these. Again, still waiting on the stream to start. I don't have any secondary streams. I know you guys are looking for something, more interesting than talking to me. What's going on in chat? Anything? In a couple minutes? Yes, that would be great. Wow. Like 500 of you watching. I'll give you something more interesting than this. Here. Let's play a couple things real quick. This is Bernie Sanders, May 13th, Fargo. Listen to what he has to say. There's a very important thing that Bernie is now saying. He's in this entire speech, he kind of changed his game. He upped his game. He's a lot more authoritative. He's a lot more forceful about what he's saying. This isn't even the Bernie gets blunt one, but listen to what he says about the planet. This is what's important. This is the key here.
I am a member of the U.S. Senate Committee on the Environment. In my view, having talked to scientists all over this country and all over the world, the debate is over. Climate change is real. It is caused by human activity, and it is already causing devastating problems in our country and around the world. In my view, we have a moral responsibility to leave this planet in a way that is healthy and habitable for our kids and future generations. Now, I am more than aware that North Dakota is a fossil fuel state. And that there are a whole lot of workers who are supporting their families with income that comes from the fossil fuel industry. I know that, and I'm not here to blame anybody, least of all the workers. But I believe, and legislation that I have introduced would provide $41 billion to help those workers and those communities that lost jobs as a result of this energy transformation. $41 billion. Our job, our goal is not to punish the workers, it is to save this planet.
Why, yes, it is. And to every worker out there that works in the fossil fuel industry, I've said a lot of harsh words lately, and I want you to understand that the harsh words I say are because I want you to have a planet to live on, and I want to find you a different job. And I think Bernie has that in mind. The goal is to leave no one behind. Everybody has to be taken care of. That's the ultimate tenet of a Bernie Sanders presidency, is everybody needs to be taken care of. Basic needs need to be met through a living wage, a job that doesn't kill the planet, a job that provides, a job with benefits, a job with proper benefits, health care. It's time, folks. We live in the 21st century, but our country functions in the 1700s. It's time we evolve the government to meet the needs of the people. And if they're not going to do it quietly, they'll go kicking and screaming. But it's our job to drag them along into the 21st century. Bernie Sanders will lead that way if we elect him. Hell, he's leading the way right now. He's leading the way right now. I'm going to run this just because, look, I don't know how many people have seen this. And I know if you've watched the newsroom, you've seen this a couple times. But I love Jimmy Dore, and this is going to make you laugh. It's about climate while we pass the time here to, get Bernie on. I want to just... This is... Alan Grayson is in Congress right now. He's one of the super delegates who's actually supporting Bernie Sanders, one of the few. and he's got stones. I want to get Alan Grayson on We the People or on the Newsroom. Or Alan, I'll do a special time to have you on, man. But you debated the Republican opponent of yours, Jolly. You eviscerated him on that open debate with TYT and the Open Debate Coalition. And now you destroy this moron. I don't know where this guy comes from, this moron. But when you undereducate your citizens, you end up with undereducated politicians. And this guy is a moron. And Alan Grayson basically tells him as much. Enjoy a good laugh about climate change.
Hey, I don't know if you're like me, but you get kind of tired of hearing elected mofos lie about climate change and deny science because they're getting paid to do so. And, we don't need to get money out of politics. We don't need to get money out of politics. But what? Half the country denies science. What's wrong with money in politics? So there's nothing wrong. Barack Obama takes money. So, wait, what was that again? Barack Obama. Yeah, thank you. And so here is, Mr. Was it Dana Rohrabacher? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
So he's one of these jagoffs who's science denying. He's getting money from fossil fuels and all that stuff, and he panders to dummies, and he's anti-science. And then they wonder how Donald Trump happened. Wow, if you dumb down your base for 40 years, turns out you get Donald Trump. So here, let's listen to him. He was talking to, I think it was Alan Grayson at a hearing in the Congress, and he goes on and on about the climate change. And I think Alan Grayson kind of has the best comeback ever. Let's just listen to it.
What we have here, and the hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars that we're talking about, is all based on the idea that CO2 is heating our planet. And this theory, which we have to all understand, pushing this theory, this administration is basically by putting such an emphasis on it, being willing to sign agreements that put enormous power in the hands of global decision makers instead of just American decision makers, as well as have a tremendous impact on jobs especially in the coal industry, where we're talking about tens of thousands of jobs that are being lost. I mean, I'm very happy to hear we're trying to do something to help them come through a crisis when men and women who have earned a living and supported their families, all of them, are now just being thrown out because of a theory.
Regarding my...
science. That theory, that's called science. That's peer-reviewed. That whole thing. Yeah, whatever, a theory. Okay, here we go.
And from California, and what he just said, if he thinks that carbon dioxide doesn't cause any human health problems, I invite him to put a plastic bag over his head, tie it tightly around his neck, and see what happens next.
Oh, wow.
We need more guys like that in the Congress. We need more guys like that. We need more guys like Alan Grayson. Go ahead. Why don't you don't the carbon dioxide not dangerous? Put a plastic bag over your head. You bought Jagoff. You ignoramus on purpose.
I think actually Dana's already done that a few times.
I think he has done that a few times. Yeah. I think he's in the blackout game. I think he does that a lot. Yeah, he's into choking when he has sex with so that costs more. And anyway, there you go. That's your government. One guy's saying the other guy's completely batshit crazy because of money in politics. One guy not bought by money in politics. The other guy completely bought. Oh, I wonder why things are screwed up. Feel the burn.
Absolutely. And before we get everybody freaking out, I know that News Universe has started. Please know that what they are running right there is not a live event. That is from the school earlier today. It was a short town hall meeting. It was about 40 minutes. That piece has been out. I'm happy to cut to it if you want. I was going to run the Residente interview between Bernie and Residente, or we can cut to that. Why don't you guys tell me what you want to do? Again, I'm happy to go to either. But that is not the live event. That is that is previously recorded. Anyway, Alan Grayson serving a little bit of duh to whoever that guy is, and it's dumb idiots like that guy that we've got to get out of office. But the only reason he got in office was, in the first place, was apathy on our part. It's our fault that dumbass is in office. You want to keep dumbasses out of office? Vote. Or run for office. Because there are going to be a lot of empty seats real soon. Right? Yeah, go to school. Residente. All right, what do we... More John speaking. All right, you guys, oh, geez. Figure out what you want to do. Residente. Live. All right. I can't, okay, so, I want to answer this. Jeanette, is it Jeannie? A couple things. Somebody said, and I missed it. Somebody said that, whoever you said, I can't find it. Somebody said you guys took over. Here it is. Priscilla. Priscilla, you say, John, yesterday we had an 11th District, North Virginia Dem Convention. This is important. This is cool, guys. Listen to this. Bernie-crats took control of drafting rules and regulations, but some stupid hillbot wanted us to take out health for all, and we crushed him. That's badass. See, that's like going in and participating in democracy, and that was a battle fought and won right there. Hillbot shows up. We need to take out healthcare because I don't know why. Why do we need to take out healthcare? You know, we need to take out the 54% of the budget that goes to the military-industrial complex. That's what we need to take out. And then no one would be complaining about spending any amount of money on education or healthcare or anything else for that matter. My God, the amount of money that we spend on the military, everybody could probably just take a year off. Do what the hell we please. Such a waste. Such a waste. Jeez. They want Residente. All right. The overall Democratic consensus based on flash polling, that's what I'm going to call it, is Residente. This just in, aliens from El Yunque have taken Bernie. Really? Is that a good thing or bad thing? No, the rally has not started. We're going to, who is this guy? My name is John Ellis. Hi, how are you? I'm the guy who started Bernie 2016 TV, and I got the newsroom on politicalrevolution.tv, and we got a whole bunch of volunteers here that do this to broadcast Bernie Sanders because the establishment media won't do that. Welcome. Nice to meet you. No, this is the pre-show, basically, to the stream. The stream hasn't started yet. We're watching News Universe channel, who is the only channel that hopefully has a lead on the actual stream. And to answer your question about the live audience, I can't show you the live audience because I don't have control of the cameras. And that's usually the case. Like 99.9% of the time, the cameras aren't ours. They're not even the person's whose stream we're borrowing. Okay? Let me show you what I mean. All right? So, here's News Universe right now, and they're broadcasting the Bernie Sanders speech from earlier today. This isn't live. This is the Bernie Sanders speech from the school earlier today. It's about a 40-minute town hall where they asked some questions. I could run that, but I don't have control of the cameras. I don't have control of anything going on there, and neither does News Universe. So whatever happens, happens. I can't do anything with it. But enough of my babbling. Let's go to Residente. And as soon as I see it, cut away from that, we'll when News Universe cuts away from that, that means that he's got the other stream running, wherever that's coming from, and I'll cut to that. But right now, we're gonna watch Bernie Sanders in an interview with Residente. This is on Bernie, the official Bernie 2016 YouTube, the official channel. Right, so you can find this there if you want. Watch it on your own time. Here you go.
Residente, thank you so much for all of your work, and love to discuss the issue with you.
Thank you for being here. I'm going to ask you questions in Spanish and English because I speak Spanish, so, and also my followers, and I want them to understand. So I hope it's okay.
Yeah, ask whatever you want, and I think we'll work this just fine.
Okay. ¿Sientes que vives en un país libre con toda la vigilancia que hay, el NSA invadiendo el espacio privado de las personas, las noticias controlando y manipulando información, con comerciales para unirse al Army en los cines, etcétera, etcétera, etcétera?
I think we live in a world where technology is radically changing, all right? So everybody has one of these things, right?
Yeah.
And what this thing does, it will tell somebody exactly where I am sitting. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, right here, at this moment. And if I go across the street, they will follow me across the street. There is pretty good evidence that the NSA records, not records is the wrong word, but keeps track of the phone calls that millions of Americans make, that they get into your emails and into the websites that you choose to visit. That is a scary situation. All right, that's what we call the big brother type society where government knows everything about you. But by the way, it's not only government, it's corporations.
Yeah.
You know, they know the products that you're buying, the books you're reading. So today, the government and private corporations have more knowledge about your life and my life than anyone would have ever dreamed of 20 or 30 years ago. We have got to change that. A free society means that you're free. You do what the hell you want. Live your life. Unless you are threatening people, you're into violence or terrorism, government has a right to stop that. But as a free individual, no, the government should not be knowing the phone calls you're making or the books you're reading.
In other words, like you feel free here.
We have got to create policies where people understand that they're living their lives. You know, you go to the doctor, that's your business, not somebody else to be checking into your medical records, right?
Yeah.
All right. Or your banking, how much money you have in the bank. So yes, the government has got to protect us from terrorism. That's a serious issue.
Yeah.
But 99.9% of the people have nothing to do with terrorism, and they should not have government or corporations knowing everything about their lives.
Yeah, I think it's the same. That, I think this happens in different countries also, in Latin America, also in Cuba, but in a different way. They put a guy. Because they don't have Wi-Fi speed.
Yes, that's right. They're doing it the old-fashioned way.
Old school. En Estados Unidos se habla mucho de libertad, creo que es la palabra favorita de este país. ¿Por qué crees que luego de casi 120 años de Puerto Rico ser una colonia, Estados Unidos todavía no le da la independencia a Puerto Rico?
Well, I think there are a lot of reasons for that, and a lot of those reasons have to do with the fact that powerful special interests in this country would like to maintain the status quo. But from my point of view, it's not my job to determine the political future status of Puerto Rico. That is the right of the Puerto Rican people. Yeah. And as you know, the island is divided. There are some, like you, who would like to see the island become independent in their own country. There are some who want statehood, and there are some who want to maintain the status quo. So my view, and I think what is the fair thing to do, is to say, as President of the United States, that decision should be made by the people of Puerto Rico through a referendum as soon as possible.
Yeah, and do you think education has to do with it? Like, I think, because if the people is not well educated, they don't know what to choose, and that happened in Puerto Rico, that we had like not so good, not good education over there, and it's.
Well, I think what a good campaign is about, and this should be worked out with the leadership and the people of Puerto Rico, is giving the people enough time. And it's not like saying we're going to do a referendum in 2 days, but pick a date in which people feel comfortable that the different sides can get their point of view out and make the case.
Yeah.
So this is something that I think we should work on, so that people hear all points of view and can make what they believe is the best decision for the island.
Puerto Rico es una colonia de Estados Unidos, sin embargo, no podemos votar por el presidente cuando nos afectan todas las decisiones que toman acá. Cuando seas presidente, ¿piensas darle el derecho al voto a los puertorriqueños?
I very much, if the question is, here's where it becomes complicated. If Puerto Rico becomes a state, it goes without saying that they will have the right to vote. And I believe that should be the case.
Okay.
And by the way, I believe Washington, D.C., which probably has more people in it than my state of Vermont, also has the right for statehood. But to answer your question, by definition, if Puerto Rico becomes a state, of course they have the right to vote for president.
And if we maintain a colony, we can't. Colonial status. Okay.
Current status, you do not have the right to vote.
Okay. Sé que te expresaste en contra de la Junta de Control Fiscal en Puerto Rico. ¿Cómo crees que Puerto Rico podría mejorar su situación económica? ¿Qué tendrían que hacer?
A couple of things. First of all, we have to understand the severity of the crisis. It is a real economic crisis. And thousands of Puerto Ricans are leaving the island to come to the United States because their education system is failing, there are no jobs, healthcare is inadequate. It is an economic disaster right now. That's number one. And number two, when you're in the midst of an economic disaster, if you're bleeding and you're hurting, I can't ask more from you. So I can't say, well, you have $73 billion in debt and you got to give Wall Street every single nickel, despite the very high interest rates they are charging your country. So that debt has got to be renegotiated in a very significant way. By the way, this is not radically different than what happened in Greece, you may know. Same thing. Big money owns the debt, and they're sucking the blood out of the island, in this case, forcing schools to be closed, healthcare to be closed. That's absolutely unfair. So what has to happen is Wall Street vultures, some of these vultures have got to sit down at the table with the representatives of Puerto Rico and work out a mutually beneficial agreement. Wall Street cannot get every nickel that it wants when children's lives are at stake. I believe that very strongly.
¿Cómo ves la relación de Estados Unidos, Latinoamérica, más ahora que la juventud está muy consciente del papel que tuvo este país en las dictaduras latinoamericanas de los 60, 70, 80?
You raise a very important point, and it's one that we don't discuss very much. But as you know, in the Monroe Doctrine, what that was about is simply saying the United States could do whatever it wanted in Latin America. They didn't like a government, they could overthrow it. And obviously that is completely absurd and unacceptable. The countries of Latin America deserve to be respected and treated as partners of the United States for economic and political reasons. I think, as somebody more than aware, I was in Chile just last year, and we went to the grave of Salvador Allende. It is no secret that Allende was overthrown by the CIA and the United States government, and a neo-fascist government was brought in. Thousands of people were killed. That is unacceptable, and that the United States cannot continue to go into Latin America and overthrow or try to disrupt, in economic reasons, countries. Those decisions have got to be made. The future of each country has got to be made by the people themselves, not the United States. And furthermore, in recent years, for whatever reason, we have not been aggressive enough in working with the governments and establishing the kind of partnerships that we should. There's a lot of improvements that have to be made.
And it's so great to hear it from you, because I think you're the only candidate talking about it. And I can't understand how you being Latin or from Latin America, you can vote for other candidates. Also, candidates that support Kissinger, that he did so much harm to Latin America.
He did.
And we passed through one of the worst genocides, in disappearing and killings, in Argentina with Videla, in Chile with Pinochet, with Rios Montt, in Guatemala.
You're right. You're absolutely, look, the point you are making, and we have to be open about it, we can't go forward unless we're honest, okay? And the history of the United States toward Latin America for a very, very long time has been the role of a powerful nation, the strongest military in the world, saying, we don't like that government, we're going to overthrow it. And chaos and mass murder often take place afterwards. I visited Nicaragua, I was criticized for this, but I went to Nicaragua because I did not want, during the Sandinista regime there, because I did not want to see the United States and Reagan supporting the Contras to overthrow that government. So that's what I mean by developing a new relationship based on mutual respect between the Latin American countries and the United States.
It's super important.
It is very important.
It's going to change the image of this country also from outside.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's great. And yo jugué béisbol durante muchos años en mi vida hasta que empecé a estudiar arte. Pero siempre he sido seguidor del deporte y para mí la figura de Roberto Clemente es muy importante. ¿Cuál deportista o pelotero marcó tu vida? Y también quería saber si habías jugado béisbol.
Yeah, I did. When I was a kid, I was a pretty good athlete. We played baseball, basketball more. I was a track. I was a runner. Ran the mile in cross country.
Wow.
I'm pretty good. But I was growing up, I was obviously more than aware of Roberto Clemente and what a great ball player he was. But my favorite ball players were around the Brooklyn Dodgers because I grew up here in Brooklyn. So people like Jackie Robinson, Pee Wee Reese, Roy Campanella, Duke Snyder. Those were people we followed every single day.
Yeah, wow. And do you collect baseball cards?
I did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You don't have it anymore?
No, if I did, I'd be a very rich guy. If I had those original... Do you have cards?
Yeah, I still have.
Did you collect it as a kid?
Yeah, and I still have them. Well, when I was a kid, I used to buy and find cards and exchange. So I have Mickey Mantle, I have Roger Maris, well, from the Yankees, Willie Mays, Jet Williams, old school.
You know what we used to do? I don't know if you used to do it. You know, we used to flip them.
Yeah.
Did you ever do that?
No, no.
You have a card, and you flip it to the wall, okay?
Yeah.
And the card that gets closest to the wall wins the other guy's card.
Oh, yeah.
And then sometimes we used to flip them, heads or tails,
okay.
And we would trade cards that way as well.
We used to put like a bunch of cards, and you bet, and the higher number gets the
card. Yeah.
But then we always had like a card with a low number, and then paste another card, and we cheat. That's how I have my cards. I'm sorry.
No, this is something very nice. Obviously in Cuba, baseball is very, very important, and they have a lot of great ball players. I just learned last week that kids from my city, of Burlington, Vermont, kids are going to go to Cuba to play a baseball game with the Cuban kids.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see a lot of changes in baseball now to make it easier for Cuban athletes to make it into the major leagues.
You know, it's going to be fine. But we have the Rookie of the Year, that is Carlos Correa, and he's from Puerto Rico, and he's killing it right now. So, yeah. Well, thank you.
Okay, good. All right, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, damn, that was over faster than I wanted. That was great. That was 13 minutes. It's over. I'm showing 18 minutes now on this event, live stream Bernie Sanders. This is on News Universe, everybody. Here, I'll just show it to you, but we can get you the link. This is what I'm seeing for a countdown. If you're looking at the other link, that's the school. That's a town hall from earlier today. I'm happy to go to that if you want to watch it. We can sit here and talk, but that was a great interview with Residente. I've never seen another. Honestly, guys, I've never seen another politician be able to just have an honest conversation like that. You know why? It's because every other politician, everyone, including Obama, has to think about their words very carefully so they don't say anything wrong. They don't say anything, Bernie just talks. And I think he knows that if he were to make a mistake, he could be like, no, I made a mistake. It would just be done. Like, he understands that he's a human being. And by being vulnerable in that way, we see him as authentic, we trust him, and we recognize that it's okay for us to be that way. And that is the evolution of our government. The evolution of our civilization is it's okay to be who you are and be a human being. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to be a human being and be the president of the United States and talk to other human beings like human to human, not robototron to, slave laborer. It's basically where we're at these days. So now we're down to another 16 minutes. And again, if there's another link, let me know. But 16 minutes before this goes, what else do we got to talk about? Let's talk about a little news. Here, just an update on the stories we were following earlier today. First off, former CIA spy says he helped South Africa arrest communist toy Nelson Mandela. My understanding is that this is double verified and Mandela is asking for apologies, and I'm sure it's not being talked about in mainstream media that much, but yeah, the CIA, what a great bunch of guys. That's not the right story, my bad. How about this one? This one's cool. Selected, not elected. Rothschilds hold a $100,000 a plate dinner fundraiser for Hillary. Now, that's the same as the $100,000 a plate cost of the VIP tickets at the Democratic National Convention that are being offered to Wall Street executives, Comcast executives, bankers. Go figure. There are, and remember, Scott said this is perfectly normal, apparently. This is perfectly normal in our democracy. Our Democratic National Convention, the DNC, is actually sponsored and funded by the GOP and run by individuals who sponsor and fund the GOP, which apparently is perfectly okay, no conflict of interest there. That's just how it works. You hand out the money to the people you need to hand out money to so you can work your deals, and it doesn't mean anything because you don't really mean anything as a representative apparently anymore. It's pretty sad. It's really sad that is the way our government functions. That is what we're changing. That is what we're changing right now, everybody. Give me a second. Let's check in on the comments. Guys, got anything else to say to me? What else is going on? Anything? Stop for a while? Nope. All right. Cool. What else do we want to run? Next up. Oh, this is a heartwarming story. So, I won't talk about him in the cruel terms I used earlier today on the newsroom. If you want to hear the full rant about it, go watch that. Orrin Hatch, Senate fossil, and all-around backwards Neanderthal, is threatening the country of Colombia to basically, the deal there is this is what I don't want to be represented this way. This is horrific. We have, of course, because of our messed up pharmaceutical industry and insurance industry and our corrupt government, there's a cancer drug that costs $15,000 a pop. And here, there's nothing you can do about it. You either have good insurance or you die because you can't afford $15,000 a pop. So Colombia said, you know what? We want to do something about that. Subsidize it or something. Cut the costs down to the people because we're not as horrid in many ways as the United States government is. And Orrin Hatch said, well, screw you. This is America. And we're going to get every last dollar for that cancer medicine. And if you do that, basically Orrin said, I have power. I have power in a different way, and I'm going to use that power to screw your country out of other money. So, in other words, whatever cost savings you were going to provide, I'm going to make it damaging to you just because I'm a dick. I don't even know why. Why? I don't even know why we would do that. And I don't understand why anybody else in Congress that has a soul would do that. Why would they let him do that? Is there anybody in Congress that has stones besides Bernie Sanders? Anybody? Alan Grayson, I know. Hey, Alan, what's the deal there? Sometimes I wish this came down to an arm wrestle because I know you could take Orrin Hatch, probably with a pinky. Oh. Arm wrestling for decisions. I know that's not the right way to go, but Grayson versus Hatch would be a great way to decide this, don't you think? I don't know. I know that's a little silly. I'm channeling my inner Bernie on which one. I don't even know. This is interesting. This is just. So this quick article exposing the injustice of vengeance against the convicted. What's going on here is a Prison Legal News. It's a magazine dedicated to reform and news developments related to federal and state prison systems. They filed a lawsuit against the Arizona Department of Corrections. Go figure, Arizona, the bastion of equality and humane treatment all around, with Joe Doe Boy Arpaio. Joe, you're the only one. I got a target on you, my friend. Street justice for you, Joe. Honestly. If you don't know who he is, everybody, he's basically the equivalent of a Nazi war criminal. He runs a tent city in Arizona. He's already been told by the Arizona Justice, I put that in giant air quotes, Arizona Justice Department, whoever they are, a judge said, stop your racial profiling. I don't know what that means other than the entirety of tent city is racial profiling, so I'm hoping he means get those people out of there, you asshole. Anyway, so in Arizona, the rainbow land of if you're brown, don't live there. Don't live there. Really, not a good idea. What happened is they filed a lawsuit against Arizona Department of Corrections because the DOC banned 4 issues of the magazine for sexually explicit material. Now, that sounds perfectly reasonable. Why would any magazine be putting sexually explicit material into these prisoners' hands? God forbid they have something to look at while they jack off in their cells all day with nothing else to do. All right. The source of the material is 4 articles about prison guards and other prison employees raping prisoners. So it's articles about some harsh truth about what goes on in these prisons for profit that Bill set up back in the 90s. Bill Clinton set up. The war crimes bill. I mean, not the war crimes bill. When he set up basically he did the entire prison for profit industry in the 90s. Okay. And I know I was there. I wasn't very coherent back then, but I was there. And it was really supposed to be for our protection. Right? It put a lot of people in prison. And we have this whole industry around it that basically has turned Americans, a whole bunch of poor, disenfranchised, minority Americans into slave labor. You're back into the slave labor that your forefathers were doing just in a building. But this time you're given health care, meals, a room to stay in, some benefits, a library, a little bit of exercise, and you're put to work. You don't really earn a wage or anything. You're just building America from the inside out in the slave labor program. The fact that they banned it and called it sexually explicit material when it's actually showing prisoners this horrific truth about what's going on in here just blows my mind. And I hope that that Prison Legal News wins this lawsuit. And I hope soon President Obama finds the stones to move in with the National Guard and forcibly remove Joe Arpaio from office and haul him off for crimes against humanity. Because that man has no right to have a gun, a badge, or be in any position of power. He's a psychopath. And he's a racist asshole, if you're not aware. Only redneck whites would like that, Sheriff. Absolutely. Now, I'm still waiting. 7 minutes. Let's get back to a little happier things. I just wanted to talk about a little harsh reality there. 7 minutes till this supposedly starts. We won't watch Anderson Cooper get caught in a lie. Let's talk about something that is inspiring. Let's talk about someone that is inspiring, okay? This is inspiring. For inspiring a new agenda, Naomi Klein wins 2016 Sydney Peace Prize. And her work, This Changes Everything, is incredible. I'm going to run the trailer for it. We got time. But it excites me. It really, really excites me because this is the kind of... This is what we... let me tell you why. It's going to sound weird, but in order for Americans to get off their ass, the Americans that are indoctrinated and like stuck to the tube, to get off their ass and like mobilize and save this planet like we need to in a World War II style action against climate change, they need to have it presented to them in a way that sucks them into it in an emotional way. All right, Bernie Sanders gets all of us going emotionally, and that's why we rose to the passion of Bernie Sanders and found our own passion that had been buried and covered with dust and apathetic for years. I know mine was. I was looking to move to Costa Rica. I'd given up on this place until Bernie Sanders showed up. All right. What Naomi presents here is the idea that this is how we mobilize. Look, we can completely shift our world. We can galvanize together. If this movie can excite millions of Americans to go, shit, yeah, this is how we turn green. This is how we put solar panels everywhere. This is how we build windmills across America. This is how we get together and save this planet as fast as possible. Because if we don't, we're not going to be happy with how we live in the next 20 years. Not going to like it at all. The new science is in. And the new science, the peer-reviewed data says, oh shit, we miscalculated a little bit. All right? So let's watch this. We got 5 minutes, 38 seconds before this event's going to start. I'm going to kick on this trailer, which is 2 minutes and 22 seconds, and we're going to watch This Changes Everything, because this is powerful.
The majority of the human race does not see global warming as a serious threat. Celebrate! Climate legislation is dead.
We, in the global north, with less than 20% of the population, are responsible for over 70% of global emissions.
We are drilling all over the place.
On the other side of the world, those people who are the most affected by climate change, most affected by environmental injustice, have the least responsibility for creating this crisis in the first place.
The amount of fossil fuel that we're combusting year on year is growing. We're going in completely the wrong direction.
I've spent 6 years wandering through the wreckage caused by the carbon in the air and the economic system that put it there.
That old paradigm will be forced to change, either by the environment around us or by us.
Part of this movement!
When you see communities who are thrown into the front line, and you see the incredible transformation, they become stronger, they stand up.
So here's the big question. What if global warming isn't only a crisis? What if it's the best chance we're ever going to get to build a better world? Change or be changed?
There are limits. Let's celebrate the limits because we can reinvent a different future.
I want that so much. I want the future that I thought we were going to have when I was a kid. Let's make that happen. But it's not going to happen at the pace of government today. Our government functions at the speed of the 1700s. This is the 21st century. We have people within our government that don't understand how the internet works, how people work today, how technology works, basic tenets of things that they really need to be up to speed on. So we need to put people in office that give a shit and have the brains to understand what's going on today. The dinosaurs in thinking. I'm not talking age. I'm talking dino thinkers, all right? We need to get them out of office. Now is not the time for incremental, slow government, and that's what we have. We need government that functions at the speed of the 21st century, at the speed of millennials. The majority of the frustration that I seek and the younger generation seeks is that nothing's moving fast enough, folks, and it can. We need to cut through the bureaucracy, get our shit together, and save this planet while we have a chance. Bernie gets it. You get it. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. 2 minutes. I wanna cover a couple other things. Here. Do we have enough time? 1 minute, 30 seconds. Here. Here, 1 minute, 30 seconds. We're gonna run this in, and that is, of course, if this actually comes on. Here's another thing. Here's over in Europe. You want to see what people can do. You want to see what we have the power to do. When your government doesn't act, when you can't get the response you want, you do what these guys did.
We're probably about 3,000 in the whole terrain of action. 1,000 to 1,500 have come from all over Europe.
We're here to stop the trains from coming across the tracks because we believe in climate justice and we want the coal to stay in the ground.
I feel it's an honor to be here, so yeah, I'm very happy.
We know that you're lying.
What do we want? Climate justice! What do we want?
to act in every way we can, and civil disobedience is one of this.
Whatever it takes, we have to stop coal.
The people got the power. The people got the power. Tell me, can you feel it?
All right, so I just want to show everybody, because I know I see a lot of people in the chat asking me to put the rally on. Here's the rally, folks. The rally is not on yet. I promise you that I will put the rally on when it is on. It is not on yet. I know this is very confusing. This happens because he did a rally earlier today, and there is a stream of that rally earlier today from Puerto Rico. There's also a stream of the rally before that in the morning in Puerto Rico. He's actually done, 3 or 4 rallies today in Puerto Rico because he's a crazy man, because he works hard, because he wants to reach as many people as he can. Now, it's not on yet. Oh, good. Give me that link. Somebody dropped a link. Priscilla, thank you. Can we get that link to me? Yes. Let's see if this is... This is great. Give me 1 second, guys. And I'm getting a not found. Link invalid. I will run, if again, I'm just here to amplify this. You guys have a better link for me, I'm on it. We're in contact with News Universe channel. They usually have this. They've got access to a lot of things that we don't. And so, again, just waiting for it to pop up, everybody. We're just hanging out here. So relax. Info at Bernie 2016 TV for anybody who wants to get a hold of me. Okay, so Christopher, get me that link, because again, there's going to be several live events going on. If there's actually a live event, I would love that. I would love that. Thank you. This is how we work together. We crowdsource the news, we crowdsource the streams. Why do we have to do this? Telecommunications Act of 1996. Really, it's what it is. We get that repealed, we start taking some power back in the media. Okay, because we need to be able to hear what our politicians have to say without fear of retribution. And you're welcome, guys. What's going on? No. I see a live stream events, Christopher, and if that is a live stream account, good. That's what I need, is that live stream account. Let's try it. I'm concerned this is not. Let's see. So I will tell you, I'm looking at this right here, and this definitely looks like the setup from earlier today. This is also not live. This is not a live event. This is the event that he had early in the morning. So there was an event early in the morning. That's what we're looking at here on this live stream. There was an event at a school, which is him with a bunch of people. There's a host, and that's town hall. That was later on today. And then there's the one tonight that hasn't actually started yet. All right. So thank you. I know it's totally confusing. I can run one of the ones from earlier today if you want. It's up to you guys. Yeah, that number sec is the same one. That's the same link above. Bernie Sanders in Puerto Rico. That's the same one. Same guys. Now, if something else is kicking in, we'll see. It just started whirling on me. Maybe they just changed it. It just kicked on to live. So maybe they're kicking over. Hang on. This is exciting. I think we might have it, guys. So thank you, Christopher. It wasn't on earlier, but give me 1 second. It hasn't quite started. It's we're getting the circle of death. So here, right? This looks good, guys. Here. This is what I've got. Now, I've got no audio on this. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Sorry, everybody. I cannot verify right now that this is the right spot or that this is live.
The 50 states, you are seeing same type things, cuts to public education. No, on the contrary, because we know how important a well-educated population is to the future of the country. We have got to make public colleges and universities tuition free. The main point that I want to make is that throughout history, and I know you know this very well, real change never occurs from the top on down. It always occurs from the bottom on up. When workers 100 years ago were forced to work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, they stood up, they fought back, and they formed trade unions which protected the rights of all working people. And I want to thank the members of the CWA who are here tonight. Stand up. They are right now in a struggle with Verizon. They're on strike. Verizon wants to outsource jobs, wants to cut their health care benefits at the same time as they pay their CEO, I think, $18 million a year. All right. So thank you, CWA, for standing up and fighting back. And when we talk about how change comes about, all of you know that in the midst of the abomination of slavery, there were African Americans and their allies risking their lives, sometimes getting killed or going to jail or getting beaten or losing their job. We will not have a racist, bigoted society. 100 years ago in the United States, women did not have the right to vote, could not get the education or the jobs they wanted. But women stood up and they fought back. Ten years ago, nobody would have believed that gay marriage would be legal in every state in the country. But that happened not because of a conservative Supreme Court. It happened because the gay community and their straight allies stood up and fought for equality. So here is my point, and it's a simple point and it's a truthful point. The only way that real change ever takes place, whether it is the crisis here in Puerto Rico today or many other major issues facing this world, is when people stand up, do not allow themselves to be divided by race or color or where they were born, when they stand together and demand social justice, economic justice, racial justice, and environmental justice. Let me say a few words, if I might, on some of the very serious problems facing Puerto Rico today. Since 2006, Puerto Rico has lost 20% of its jobs. About 60% of Puerto Rico's adult population are either unemployed or have given up looking for work. Over the last 5 years alone, 5 years, more than 150 public schools have been shut down, and the childhood poverty rate on the island is now 57%.
That is unacceptable. In the midst of this terrible human and economic crisis, it is morally repugnant that we are seeing vulture funds on Wall Street demanding, billionaires on Wall Street demanding that Puerto Rico fire teachers, close schools, cut pensions, and abolish the minimum wage. These people really have no shame. It is really from a human point of view. And I see this. Don't think this is just Puerto Rico. It is not. We're seeing this all over. These people who have billions of dollars, they can leave money to their families for 100 generations. And yet they seem intent on wanting more and more and more, and they do not care about the suffering they leave in their greed. We have got to make it clear, and as president, I certainly will make it clear that these billionaire hedge fund managers cannot and will not have it all. These vulture funds today are getting interest rates of 34% on tax-exempt bonds that they purchased for 29 cents on the dollar. It has been estimated that as much as half of Puerto Rico's debt is owned by these vulture funds. Our position, my position, is crystal clear. These vulture capitalists will not receive 100% return on their investments. They will not get 100% return on their investments while children in Puerto Rico go hungry. Puerto Rico's debt must be restructured. Puerto Rico must be given the time it needs to grow its economy, to create jobs. I absolutely 100% reject austerity politics. Instead of hurting people even more when they are down, we have got to give them the resources to rebuild the economy and rebuild their tax base. There is no way that the economic situation in Puerto Rico will improve by eliminating more public schools, by slashing pensions, by laying off workers, or by allowing corporations to pay workers starvation wages by eliminating the minimum wage. As many of you remember, 8 years ago, Congress and the Federal Reserve acted with a fierce sense of urgency to bail out Wall Street and the largest financial institutions in this country that were considered too big to fail. That's right. There was a fierce sense of urgency. Congress worked morning, noon, and night to save the giant banks on Wall Street whose greed and illegal behavior nearly destroyed the economy. If Congress had a fierce sense of urgency to bail out Wall Street, they need double that sense of urgency to help the people of Puerto Rico. As part of the Wall Street bailout, the Treasury Department provided $700 billion to virtually every major financial institution in America. But more than that, not widely known, the Federal Reserve provided over $16 trillion in virtually zero interest loans to not only every major financial institution in the United States, but central banks and corporations all over the world. If the Federal Reserve could work overtime to protect the interests of Wall Street, it can certainly help the 3.5 million American citizens in Puerto Rico improve its economy. Today, I am calling on the Fed to use its emergency authority under Section 13(3) of the Federal Reserve Act to pave the way for an orderly restructuring of Puerto Rico's debt. Moreover, it seems to me that we need an independent audit of Puerto Rico's debt. If this audit determines that any of Puerto Rico's debt was incurred in violation of Puerto Rico's Constitution, that debt must be immediately set aside. I believe that Congress should act immediately to give Puerto Rico the same authority granted to every municipality in the United States to restructure its debt under the supervision of a bankruptcy court. Further, let us be clear. The Republican plan in Congress to establish an unelected oversight board, a control board, that would be given the power to slash pensions, cut education and health care, and increase taxes on working families is not the answer and must be opposed. I mentioned a moment ago my belief that if we want to improve the economy here in Puerto Rico and all over the United States, we need to rebuild our infrastructure. The plan that I have poured forth, $1 trillion over 5 years, paid for by eliminating corporate tax loopholes, would create over 150,000 good-paying jobs here in Puerto Rico. This plan would allow Puerto Rico to address its crumbling roads and bridges, improve its ports, upgrade its drinking water and wastewater plants, and fortify flood control projects. It would also improve public education, public transportation within its major cities. Importantly, it would modernize Puerto Rico's antiquated electric grid to end rolling blackouts and make it easier with a new grid to integrate new solar and wind installations. No community in this day and age can thrive without a modern high-speed internet system and without affordable broadband, and this legislation would enable Puerto Rico to move forward in that direction. Now, I don't want to claim to be an expert on Puerto Rico in general or on energy within Puerto Rico, but I do not understand why on this island where you have so much sunshine, why you have so much wind, it is hard for me to imagine why you're spending a fortune importing fossil fuel to this island. You know, I'm not an expert, but I have a feeling somebody's making a lot of money on that deal. Now, we have introduced, as president, what I will tell you is that all of you know that climate change is real, and it is already causing massive problems throughout the world, and climate change is caused by human activity. That's a fact. And I believe that we have a responsibility to our children and future generations to leave this planet in a way that is healthy and habitable. And I believe that for this island, what an extraordinary opportunity you have to save substantial sums of money and have less expensive electricity. And to help this world combat climate change by moving away from fossil fuel to solar, wind, geothermal. And we've got legislation in that would help Puerto Rico in a very significant way to do that. Now, I understand that the people of Puerto Rico quite legitimately feel that they are now existing in a colonial status. And if I were sitting where you were sitting, and I was reading that in the United States Congress there were plans to create a control board to make terrible decisions for the island, and you had nothing to say about that, I also would feel that I was in a colonial situation. In my view, it is time for the people of Puerto Rico to be allowed to take charge of their political future. And for the United States of America to redefine its legal relationship with the people of the island. The people of Puerto Rico must be empowered to determine their own destiny. Now, I understand, I don't claim to be an expert on Puerto Rican politics, but I do know there are divisions of opinion on where the island might go. Is that correct? All right. Some people want independence. Some people want statehood. And there are some who may want to redefine and change the nature of the Commonwealth relationship. All right, but here is my point. My point is that where Puerto Rico goes in terms of its political status is not my decision, it is your decision. And my promise to you is that during my first year as president, the people of Puerto Rico will have the right to vote on a binding referendum that will allow them to make that choice. Now, I have been here in Puerto Rico. We got in last night. So I've been here for less than a day, but I have heard a great deal of concern from many, many people about the fate of Oscar Lopez Rivera. Oscar Lopez Rivera is one of the longest-serving political prisoners in history. He has been in prison for more than 34 years, longer than Nelson Mandela was in prison in South Africa. Oscar Lopez Rivera is 73 years of age now, and as I understand it, his health is deteriorating. We are talking about a man who is a Vietnam War veteran, who was awarded the Bronze Star, one of the most distinguished awards. There is right now a petition that is widely supported in Puerto Rico. It is also supported by the AFL-CIO, by Coretta Scott King, the widow of Martin Luther King Jr., by President Jimmy Carter, by 10 Nobel Prize laureates, by the United Methodist Church, the Episcopal Church of Puerto Rico, the Catholic Archbishop of San Juan, the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, and a number of political leaders in Latin America and the Caribbean. That petition is also supported by me. Oscar Lopez Rivera has done his time. He must be given a chance to enjoy his remaining years in freedom and with his family and friends. The truth of the matter is, and I say this to every audience I speak to, it's an unpleasant truth, but it is a real truth, is that we are moving closer and closer to an oligarchic form of society. And do you all know what I mean by that? What I mean by that is economically, we are seeing handfuls of multi-billionaires control huge segments of our economy. We are seeing politically in the United States billionaires spending hundreds of millions of dollars to elect candidates who will represent the wealthy and the powerful. And the only antidote to that movement toward oligarchy is a political revolution when millions of people stand up and fight back. It is true that Wall Street has unlimited amounts of money, unlimited amounts of money. They spent billions of dollars to get deregulated. They can spend as much money as they want politically to accomplish any goal that they want. It is true that corporate America can shut down plants here in Puerto Rico and move to China tomorrow. It is true that the corporate media will tell us what corporate America wants us to know. It is true that wealthy campaign contributors have enormous impact over the political life of the nation. All of that is true, but there is another and deeper truth that history attests to, and that is when people are prepared to stand up and fight back, we can accomplish anything. This campaign is not just about electing Bernie Sanders for president, it is about transforming our lives. On June 5th, there is going to be a very important Democratic primary here in Puerto Rico, and I know that I'm running against somebody who is widely known throughout the island. I know that we've got an uphill battle, but with your support and the support of the people of the island, Puerto Rico can go on record as saying that we need a political revolution to transform America. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Well, oh, hang on. Let me hear myself. There we go. Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. And there's a lot of you here. That was a portion of Bernie Sanders' live event in Puerto Rico, San Juan, as far as we can tell. And I want to thank what I'm assuming is the voice of Puerto Rico. That's what I put up here. I'm not going to butcher your name here. These guys provided the stream, and somebody gave us that. Really appreciate that coming through. That was provided by you in the audience. So thank you all very much for providing that stream. I'm sorry it wasn't very much Bernie. That's all we got going on right now. And we missed the very beginning, but it's always good to hear Bernie. And we, of course, had that interview with Residente Wow, 1645 here. Thanks, Jesse. Wow, that's a lot of people. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining the conversation and having a discussion. It wasn't a long Bernie speech, but I think he got a lot of the points across. I'm going to have to learn more about what's going on in Puerto Rico. I don't know. So, do they have representatives that we could interview on We the People? I'd love. Could we? Is there no representation because they're a colony? See, I don't know anything about Puerto Rico. You guys educate me. And if there's somebody we can talk to from Puerto Rico to know more about them, I'd love to do that. So, far as I understand, that's it. We caught the last of it. Tomorrow, we have the newsroom at 9 a.m., noon Eastern, for everybody else. And I know we've got a Bernie rally already. I think he's off to California. Let me see here. Yes. So this is the next event. Let me show you. Tomorrow. That we know of. He could schedule another one. So Southern California election night rally. Because tomorrow, everybody, I know I haven't really said much about it because it's my own state. I don't know why. But tomorrow we have Kentucky and Oregon primaries. And if you're in Oregon, you have to drop that sucker off at the ballot box. It's too late to mail it. I hope you took care of it. I had to take care of mine 2 days ago. I had to drive to the Letting Library in Milwaukee and drop it off because I did not get off my ass and put it in the mail. They make it so easy in Oregon. I don't know about Kentucky, but we're really hoping for a big sweeping victory in Oregon, and I hope we can pull that out in Kentucky. I don't know where Bernie Sanders sits there. Waiting to see. And yes, we will run some kind of special coverage, or maybe we'll tack it on to the beginning or end of a rally, and this is where Bernie's going to be. He's going to be at this California here. Let's see, where's he going to be at? Let me see. Southern California. And event 5 p.m., so that would be Pacific time. Doors open, so I'm assuming we're going to start around 7 p.m. Pacific, which would be 10 p.m. Eastern for everybody else. And this is in the tennis stadium at StubHub Center on the campus of Cal State Dominguez Hills, Carson, California. I have no idea where that is. I lived in SoCal for quite some time, so I have no idea where that is. It doesn't matter. We will run that. I'm sure we'll have a feed. I don't know if he's doing anything earlier in the day. Maybe, maybe not. We will have the newsroom, and then we'll do coverage of this, but I'm guessing the results aren't going to be until evening our time anyway, so it'll be pretty late. But we'll have a good time together. Join us for that. Thank you for being here. The easiest thing you can do for your democracy is to share the information in the description of this event. Share this event. Share Bernie things. Go to Bernie, the official Bernie channel on YouTube, Bernie 2016, and share those videos that are prepared by the campaign. And talk with your friends and family about Bernie Sanders, about the election. Just ask them to get involved and give a shit. I did a video earlier about 5 millennials. I talked to 5 millennials in the last 3 days, and all of them said they were not politically active. Is that the new PC statement when you just don't have the courage to take a look at what's going on? Now, I'm not knocking you. I'm just saying you might want to be politically active this year. It's an important year, and you hold the power. If you're a millennial, you hold the power. Right? Us old people, and there's lots of old people that feel the burn. Lots and lots of us. When I talk about old people that need to wake up, I talk about old people in thought. People that are thinking like it's the 1700s, right? We don't need those kind of thinkers anymore. It's 21st century. We need flying cars. We need we need to go to the moon. We need to go to Mars. We need to turn our Earth into a renewable energy resource. We need to stabilize the climate. That's what the 21st century looks like to us, right? But in order to get there, we have to talk to our friends and family. When 5 out of 5 millennials that I talk to in my neighborhood tell me they're not politically active and they're not even interested in getting into it, looking at it, that scares the shit out of me. So if you're a millennial, talk to your friends or text your friends or email your friends or Vine your friends or Periscope your friends or what. Oh, that doesn't sound right. However you want to communicate with them, get them to talk. Get them to vote. Get them to give a shit. Because it's the apathy that gives away our power. And we learned from President Obama that you never want to do that. Never give away your power. All right, I'm done preaching. Rah, rah, rah. I know, John preaching. And And look at how fast we lose the audience. Lost half of you that fast. Woo! I'm good at that. All right. Stand strong, everybody. We're in this together. I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to go out with... I know what I want to go out with. Do I have it loaded up in here? Please. Give me 1 second. I have the right one. This is the other one. You know what? I'm going to run this one just because I haven't heard this one. This one's a little different. Nah. Yeah, okay. This one is Symphony of Science, Secret of the Stars. This is Melody Sheeps. Came out in 2013. Planetary Society. This has got some of my heroes. My heroes are scientists. And Bill Nye, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and Richard Feynman, Carl Sagan, Hawking, Einstein. These guys are the brains that built America. Right? And we need a lot more focus on brains and a lot less focus on brawn in this country. We'll see you tomorrow. Feel the burn, everybody.
Say, do you like mystery stories? Well, we have one for you. The concept? Relativity. That strange, fantastic relationship between time, distance, and math. Before we're finished, I think you'll agree that truth is stranger than the strangest fiction.
Why do the stars shine? Why does the galaxy light up? E = mc squared. That is the engine that lights up the stars. Energy turns into mass. E = mc squared. That is the secret of the stars. That is the secret of the stars. Now listen carefully. The faster you move, the heavier you get. The energy of motion turns into m, your mass. Energy of motion.
Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. An awful lot of energy for a tiny amount of mass. Light travels at the same speed, no matter how you look at it. No matter how I move relative to you, light travels at the same speed.
No matter who is doing the measurement, and no matter what direction you are moving, the speed of light is the same. The speed of light is the same, no matter what direction or how fast. As you travel faster, time slows down. Everything slows down.
Time slows down when your time passes at a different rate. Clocks run slow.
It's a monumental shift in how we see the world.
The beauty, the majesty, the power of the universe into a single equation.
E = mc squared.
That is the engine that lights up the stars. Energy turns into mass.
E = mc squared.
That is the secret of the stars.
It's a beautiful piece of science. It's a beautifully elegant theory. It's a beautiful piece of science. It's a beautiful piece of...
A planet like the Earth is kept in orbit because it follows curves in the spatial fabric caused by the sun's presence.
Space and time are bent by stars and planets. As things move through this curved space, they bend.
Now, all of this is illustration of the fact that time and space are linked together.
As you're moving through bent and curved space and time, you feel like you feel a force. As you're moving through bent and curved space and time, you feel like you feel a force. That force is gravity.
The beauty, the majesty, the power of the universe into a single equation.
E = mc squared.
That is the engine that lights up the stars. Energy turns into mass.
E = mc squared.
That is the secret of the stars. That is the secret of the stars. That is the secret of the stars. That is the secret of the stars.
huge